Imagine stepping aboard a sailing ship in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. The sails are set. The cargo is untouched. A warm meal sits on the table, and a half-written log entry rests on the captain's desk. Everything is perfectly in place, except for one terrifying detail. Every single human soul has vanished into thin air. No signs of a struggle. No blood. No damage from a storm. Just an empty vessel sailing silently through the mist. This is not a ghost story fabricated for Hollywood. This is the chilling, true reality of the Mary Celeste, history's most enduring maritime enigma. For over 150 years, the world's greatest detectives, scientists, and historians have asked the same question. What happened to the crew? Today, we piece together the real incidents, the hidden records, and the terrifying theories to finally uncover the truth. To understand the horror of what happened, we must go back to November 7, 1872. The merchant ship Mary Celeste weighs anchor from New York Harbor, bound for Genoa, Italy. The ship is carrying a valuable but dangerous cargo, 1,701 barrels of industrial alcohol. Commanding the vessel is Captain Benjamin Briggs. Briggs is no novice. He is a highly respected, deeply religious, and incredibly experienced mariner. This voyage isn't just business, it's personal. Joining him on board are his wife, Sarah, and their 2-year-old daughter, Sophia. Along with a hand-picked crew of 7 elite, experienced sailors, the total number of souls on board is 10. For the first 2 weeks, the voyage is entirely uneventful. Captain Briggs keeps a meticulous logbook. He notes the weather, the shifting winds, and the ship's coordinates. Nothing indicates danger. The last entry, dated November 25th, places the ship just 6 miles off the island of Santa Maria in the Azores. It is a completely standard, mundane entry, but it would be the last words anyone would ever read from the crew of the Mary Celeste. Cut to December 5th, 1872, exactly 10 days after that final log entry. Another British merchant ship, the Dei Grazia, is sailing about 400 miles east of the Azores. The captain, David Morehouse, notices a speck on the horizon. As they draw closer, he realizes it's a brigantine sailing erratically. Her sails are slightly torn, and she is yawing clumsily through the water. Morehouse recognizes the ship. It's the Mary Celeste. Shockingly, Morehouse had dined with Captain Briggs in New York just days before they both set sail. Knowing Briggs to be a master captain, Morehouse immediately senses something is terribly wrong. Morehouse sends his first mate, Oliver DeVoe, and a small boarding party to investigate. As they step onto the deck, the silence is deafening. DeVoe calls out, but the only response is the flapping of wet sails and the sloshing of water below deck. When they inspect the ship, what they find defies logic. The ship is in remarkably good condition. There is water between the decks, but she is completely seaworthy. The crew's personal belongings, their clothes, and even their pipes remain untouched in their quarters. The captain's clock is ruined by water, and the compass is smashed, but the ship's papers and the chronometer are missing. Most importantly, the single lifeboat is gone. The 1,701 barrels of alcohol are securely stowed in the hold. There is plenty of food and fresh water left on board, enough to last for 6 months. They weren't hit by a catastrophic storm, yet they abandoned a perfectly fine, floating fortress in the middle of the deep ocean. Why? The Dei Grazia crew sails the Mary Celeste to Gibraltar to claim salvage rights. But instead of being hailed as heroes, they are met with intense suspicion. The British authorities launch a massive maritime investigation led by a ruthless attorney named Frederick Flood. Flood is convinced that foul play was involved. He examines the ship and claims to find dark red stains on the deck, which he immediately declares to be human blood. He also finds deep cuts on the ship's bow, suggesting an axe attack. The media goes wild. Theories of a bloody mutiny flood the newspapers. Did the crew get drunk on the industrial alcohol, murder Captain Briggs and his family, and flee in the lifeboat? But the real historical records and scientific testing shatter this theory. Later analysis proved that the bloodstains on the deck were actually iron rust and old molasses. The cuts on the bow were just natural wear and tear from the sea. Furthermore, the industrial alcohol on board was denatured, completely undrinkable. Drinking it would cause blindness, madness, or death, and the experienced crew would have known this. The mutiny theory collapsed. The Dei Grazia crew was eventually cleared of suspicion and awarded a fraction of the salvage money, but the mystery remained completely unsolved. Over the decades, the Mary Celeste became a canvas for wild myths. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the creator of Sherlock Holmes, even wrote a fictional story based on the event, changing the ship's name to the Mary Celeste, which popularized the myth that half-eaten meals and warm tea were left on the table. In reality, the boarding logs show the galley was a mess, with pots and pans scattered by the waves. So, if it wasn't pirates, sea monsters, or mutiny, what actually happened? Modern science and maritime historians have finally narrowed it down to two highly plausible, terrifying scenarios. Theory 1. The invisible explosion. In 2006, scientists at University College London conducted a simulation. They discovered that several of the alcohol barrels had leaked. The fumes, trapped in the hot, sealed hold of the ship, would have built up immense pressure. A spark, perhaps from a tool or the ship's galley, could have caused a flash explosion. This type of blast creates a massive wave of heat and flame but leaves no burn marks or soot behind. Captain Briggs, fearing his ship was about to blow sky-high, would have ordered an immediate evacuation into the lifeboat to wait it out. Theory 2. The faulty pump. Recent documentation revealed that the Mary Celeste had recently been refitted, and her hold was packed with coal dust and debris from a previous cargo. This debris likely clogged the ship's bilge pumps. On November 24th and 25th, the ship hit rough seas. Because the pumps were broken, Captain Briggs had no way of knowing how much water was actually leaking into the ship. Fearing the vessel was actively sinking beneath his family's feet, he made the agonizing decision to abandon ship. In both theories, the tragedy ends the same way. The 10 souls pile into the small lifeboat, attached to the Mary Celeste by a long towline. But the Atlantic is merciless. A sudden gale hits. The heavy towline snaps. The empty, uncrewed Mary Celeste sails away on the wind, while the tiny lifeboat, lost in the vast, roaring ocean, is swallowed by the waves. No trace of Captain Briggs, his family, or his crew was ever found. The true tragedy of the Mary Celeste isn't just that a crew vanished. It's that they abandoned the safest place they could have possibly been. The ship they fled out of pure terror didn't sink. It survived the storms, held its cargo, and safely carried their memories across the ocean without them. In their panic to escape death, they ran straight into its arms. The sea keeps many secrets, but the Mary Celeste remains its most haunting reminder. Sometimes, the greatest danger we face is our own fear. What do you think really happened in those final, terrifying moments? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more deep dives into history's greatest unsolved mysteries with the Ledger. Until next time, keep your eyes on the horizon.